Okay, wow. So,
Triumphant.
very triumphant. A couple things I think would be good to point out. What's up, YouTube? Me and Nelson just got done laughing because of all the macaroons we just ate.
Trader Joe's macaroons.
All right, so today we're diving into Hollow Knight Silksong original soundtrack. Let's get started because this is kind of in my wheelhouse. I played an orchestra and I've done quite a bit of composing and stuff like that. So
I feel like I got to set the stage a little bit, though.
okay,
All right, so this game, highly anticipated.
okay,
The first game came out. I played it a bunch. A lot of people's introduction to this style of game. And then the team that made it, Team Cherry, they've just been, they hinted at it 5-6 years ago. They're like, guys, we're working on a sequel.
Wow.
And then that was it. And then they basically went radio silent for 5-6 years.
Oh, okay.
And out of nowhere, a few weeks ago, they're like, guys, it's dropping in 2 weeks. And everyone's been super hyped on it. When it launched, it crashed a bunch of the stores, so people have been waiting for it. And then so what we're about to play, this was after this big long wait, and this was what you hear.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, wow. So,
Triumphant.
very triumphant. A couple things I think would be good to point out and are cool. So this is in C minor. And the biggest thing that I think is cool about music like this is kind of like when you hear people describe oh, it sounds very cinematic. One little trick about that is to basically this is minor, right? So C minor. Let's kind of go through some of the root notes they're using over C minor and how you can keep that going the entire time, basically. Mm-hmm. And so you can basically take all these different root notes right, so they do that on the 5 chord on this G. They change that one time, but everything else,
What are they changing there?
okay, so on the G, you have G, C, and E flat. So it's basically a C minor over G.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of suspense there, right? It's not resolved, you can tell. But then you just resolve it to a regular G chord to resolve it to C. So when you hear people describe music as cinematic or something like that, this is kind of a good way to go about that. And so this next section, also, one really cool thing about classical music, because this is basically in the classical genre, one really cool thing about classical music is it teaches you what feels good dynamically. Somehow they figured out hundreds of years ago how to build something and then take it down and build something and then leave it up there, just kind of what humans generally feel good listening to.
It's drama. It's there's emotion there, it's dramatic, it keeps you very engaged. If everything was just flatline the whole time, you're gonna tune out.
If it was flatline, and also if it kept building and stayed up, and then stayed up just a little bit too long, or because sometimes a challenge is good, but classical music is really, really cool in that way. So,
and that's oh, go ahead.
What they just did here was they built you up, and then they're gonna take you right down, and they're gonna introduce a bunch of new instruments that you haven't heard yet. So, but do they do that again No, like the second time they're gonna leave you up. They're gonna actually satisfy the build up. So it's interesting.
I feel like you've talked about that with pop music too.
I'm also gonna do this little game here, which I think would be cool if you guys tried this at home with any song you can. But try this song too. Try a game where like you are guessing the root notes right after they happen. So I'm gonna let this form play through one time in this next section, and then I've only heard this like 2 times, so I'm just gonna like play the root notes really quick after they happen. And it's a good ear training exercise, and it shows you again what I just did earlier, all the root notes you can have while you kind of keep the same tonality up top. So here we go. All these different elements.
That chorus is new.
Okay, so here. Okay, cool. So now there's a little root note game that you can play by yourself. And now they built it up and they actually let it go this time. And so they like, that was very meaningful there. And yeah, I mean, that's just like what's really cool about classical music, I think.
And I think something cool about this, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, is how the music fits the game. The music for this game, this is like very fast, a lot of strings, and that really fits the style of the game compared to the original, which is you move much slower through the game, and it's a bit more, they very much have their own feel, but the original game is very like dark and melancholy, and there's rain, and it's a lot more like toned down hues, except for a few of the little map areas. And this game, at least so far, I'm not super far into it, but it's much brighter. You move quicker. There's like aerial combat, and I feel like that really fits the way the strings are coming in, and it's like very fast paced and everything.
Interesting. Yeah, I have a question about that because this ends with just the harp, and so I'm curious. Like when it ended, I pictured like somebody just like sitting alone after this big thing. So let's listen.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments of solitude in the game.
Okay,
you find like this. You find these little benches, and you just sit on those, and that's a moment to heal and rest. And
yeah, that's like what I pictured or something. Okay, cool.